Chris Canty just went nuclear on Kevin Stefanski live on ESPN, calling him out for lying to the media about Shedeur Sanders' role in Cleveland. The former Super Bowl champ didn't hold back, saying, quote, "If you can't be honest about your quarterback situation, maybe you shouldn't be coaching in the NFL." And this rant had the entire panel stunned, silent.
Backup quarterback Shedeur Sanders and why he hasn't given him an opportunity despite the injury this past week so far.
He obviously came in Saturday with his back injury. We were hopeful that he'd be able to move around well enough to suit up on Sunday, but put him through a pregame warm-up, and obviously just didn't feel like he was ready to play, Mary Kay. But he's getting better every day, and I'm hopeful that he'll continue to improve.
And if I can ask a super quick follow-up on that, why wouldn't you, just to see if it does anything to the offense, give him an opportunity to go in there and play?
Yeah, obviously my focus is where we are right now, Mary Kay. That's not my focus.
What's going on? What's going on in Cleveland? Anybody have an explanation?
I don't. Smalls?
The way I interpreted it, they're not ready to move on from Dylan Gabriel. They don't think the sample size is large enough. They're going to continue to go with him. They don't think Shedeur is ready.
That's a good answer. Did they give that answer?
No.
Why not?
Chris Canty just did the unthinkable on live television. He didn't just question Kevin Stefanski's coaching decisions. He straight up accused the Cleveland Browns head coach of not wanting to be there anymore. And it all revolves around one name, Shedeur Sanders. While Dylan Gabriel is out here throwing the ball like he's never seen a football before, posting a QBR worse than the 2016 season, Stefanski is standing at press conferences, dodging questions like he's Neo in the Matrix. "That's not my focus," he says. "Really? Your backup quarterback? The guy you drafted? The future you invested in? That's not your focus?" Canty called it what it is: nonsensical, clunky, and downright embarrassing. And now the entire NFL world is asking the same question. What's really going on in Cleveland? And why is Shedeur Sanders being kept in handcuffs?
No, I'm trying to figure out whether or not Kevin Stefanski wants to be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Because to continue to stay the course with Dylan Gabriel based on the body of work that we've gotten just doesn't make any sense to me. It's nonsensical. Dylan Gabriel is absolutely awful. I mean, you're talking about a quarterback that is small, he lacks escapability, and he's got a noodle arm. Not exactly the combination that you're looking for when it comes to trying to elevate your team. If we didn't have enough evidence, what he did on Sunday, the 2 turnovers in the third quarter, absolutely egregious. And then, oh, by the way, backed up in the end zone, you get an intentional grounding for a safety. One of the most embarrassing moments that we've seen from any quarterback in Cleveland. Just to contextualize what we've seen from Dylan Gabriel, his 25.8 QBR is actually worse than the QBRs of Deshaun Kyle.
Let me paint you the picture of what went down. Kevin Stefanski walks into his press conference after another brutal loss, and reporter Mary Kay Cabot hits him with the question everyone in Cleveland has been screaming at their TVs. Shedeur Sanders came into the week with a back injury. They were hopeful he could suit up, but after the pregame warm-up, they decided he wasn't ready. Fair enough, right? Injuries happen. But then Mary Kay asked the follow-up question that changes everything.
I don't know. All right.
He's
gray
trying
area.
a new batting stance.
Gray area. I don't know.
No, I'm going to give it to CC on this one.
Okay.
This was a stat
So
for unsportsmanlike that hit very well that he's now going to use for first take.
Got it. Okay. Let me go back to one thing.
What's up?
When you said Kevin Stefanski, I'm not even sure he wants to be the coach of the Cleveland Browns. What do you mean by that? I mean, I know that sounds clear, but I'd like you to elaborate on what that means. NFL, breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, there are only 32 of these jobs.
Yeah.
Voluntarily not wanting to have one of them only usually happens for someone that, like Andy Reid, if he's like, I'm good, I'm going to walk away. I don't need this anymore. I'm a first ballot Hall of Famer. Not Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, I don't think I'm breaking news when I say that I don't think everybody in the organization is on the same page in terms of what's happening around the quarterbacks, right? Because if they were, then we wouldn't have seen how clunky it was throughout the preseason, all of the inferences that they would keep 4 different quarterbacks on the active roster. Remember, they traded for Kenny Pickett only to trade him away at the end of the preseason.
Why wouldn't you, just to see if it does anything to the offense, give him an opportunity to go in there and play? And that's when Stefanski's mask slips. Yeah, obviously my focus is where we are right now, Mary Kay. That's not my focus. Wait, hold on. Run that back. Your backup quarterback isn't your focus? The guy who's supposed to be your insurance policy, your plan B, your hope for the future? He's not even on your radar? Chris Canty heard that answer, and you could see his brain short circuit in real time. He looked at his co-hosts and asked the question we're all thinking. What's going on? What's going on in Cleveland?
So that was Darius Chogdan.
Unless you're Kevin Stefanski, apparently. And this is where Chris Canty drops the nuclear bomb that explains everything. I don't think everybody in the organization is on the same page in terms of what's happening around the quarterbacks, right? Because if they were, then we wouldn't have seen how clunky it was throughout the preseason. Clunky. That's putting it mildly. Let Canty walk you through the mess that was Cleveland's offseason quarterback situation, because it reads like a comedy of errors, except nobody's laughing. They kept talking about carrying 4 different quarterbacks on the active roster during preseason. 4. That's unheard of. Then they traded for Kenny Pickett, only to flip him right back out before the season even started. They moved on from Joe Flacco, promoted Shedeur Sanders to backup quarterback a couple weeks ago, and then didn't give him a single first-team rep in practice. Not one. Even though everyone knows Dylan Gabriel is one big hit away from being out of the game. Think about that. Your starting quarterback is struggling. Your backup hasn't practiced with the first team, and you're acting surprised when people ask why you won't make a change. It's not just clunky, it's sabotage. But here's where Canty reveals the real story, the behind-the-scenes drama that explains everything. He brings up an interview they did with NFL draft expert Mel Kiper a few weeks back, and what Kiper said should make every Cleveland fan's blood run cold. When we had Mel Kiper on a few weeks ago, he said that the thought around the NFL was that Dylan Gabriel was Kevin Stefanski's guy and that Shedeur Sanders was Andrew Berry's guy. There it is.
Dylan Gabriel has a 25.8 QBR. He's worse than the 2016 season quarterbacks. He's throwing picks, taking safeties, and looking completely lost. And Shedeur Sanders is sitting on the bench watching his rookie season slip away because his head coach is in a power struggle with the GM. So here's my question for you, because I want to know what you think. Is Kevin Stefanski's job already done in Cleveland? Is there any way he survives this season if he keeps trotting Dylan Gabriel out there while Shedeur collects splinters? And more importantly, does Shedeur Sanders deserve better than this? Because from where I'm sitting, Chris Canty is right about everything. This is nonsensical. It's clunky. It's embarrassing. And if Kevin Stefanski doesn't wake up soon, he's going to look back at this season and realize he wasted one of the most promising young quarterbacks in the league because he was too proud to admit that maybe, just maybe, the GM's guy was better than his. Shedeur Sanders came into the league ready to prove he's more than just Deion's son. He's ready to show he's got the talent, the work ethic, and the mentality to be a franchise quarterback. But he can't do any of that from the bench. And the longer Kevin Stefanski keeps him there, the more he's proving Chris Canty's point that maybe, just maybe, he doesn't really want to be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns anymore. So what happens next? Does Stefanski finally give Shedeur a shot, or does he ride Dylan Gabriel all the way to the unemployment line? Does Andrew Berry step in and force the issue, or does this power struggle destroy both of their careers? One thing's for sure, Chris Canty isn't going to let this story die. He's going to keep asking the uncomfortable questions, keep demanding answers, and keep putting the spotlight on the dysfunction in Cleveland. And honestly, good, because Shedeur Sanders deserves better. The fans deserve better. And if Kevin Stefanski can't see that, maybe it's time for Cleveland to find someone who can. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Should Shedeur start the next game? Is Stefanski's job already done? And what would you do if you were running the Browns? Let me know. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because this story is far from over. We'll be tracking every move Cleveland makes. And trust me, it's about to get even messier. Let's go.